Why modern Star Trek TV shows are so divisive? This again? This is the same article and puff piece, and I am Mecca, and we're gonna rail on this. Who are you? Why are you here?
I'm Rob off camera.
I'm looking for my writing crop. Oh no,
Yeah,
I
there's
seem
one
to
over
have.
here.
Oh, okay, one of them. Well, good. This is a writing crop video. We are Star Trek fans, at least good Star Trek. You know, like the Orville. That's a good Star Trek show right now. And we got some cat hair. Really? There's a dust bunny.
Meow.
On it. There's a dust bunny on this one. It's because I've been using the more thwacky one that I don't know where that one went. That's okay. That is okay. We are here to talk about this article here from Screen Rant. And I don't want to go through and read every single bit of this. This is exactly the same article that we've seen countless times, over and over and over. It's like, who are you trying to convince? Us or you, article writer? You know, you read through this article on your channel.
Yeah, I read through the whole thing, and it was excruciatingly bad.
How it endured divisive reception, blah 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 blah.
Basically, it says the same thing we've heard over the last few years. Oh yeah, you know what? Does Star Trek really that bad? Why is it so divisive? And they try to build a case that it's not as bad as you think.
It's not as bad as you think because, well, see, the old shows. People complain about the old shows, and those are fine. People really didn't complain that much about the old shows, though. People, like, they always keep circulating that article from before TNG aired, and they use this a lot to gaslight people. This is a huge gaslight puff piece article that tries to go in and say, but see, they complained about TNG, they complained about Voyager, and then Voyager was the big bad one for all this time, and then Enterprise was the bad one. See, so is it really just this, or is it new shows?
My bunghole will ask the questions.
It's these new shows. It's these new shows specifically that don't take anything Star Trek other than the name only. And the big thing that I want to really stress with these. Stranger Worlds fixes a modern Star Trek problem. The division of modern Star Trek can partly be attributed to a far wider culture chasm. Right-wing press amusingly accused Star Trek Strange New Worlds of going political. Actually, all Star Trek has always had a political leaning. My problem with it, of course, I'm not part of the right-wing press that they say, even though I get kind of lumped in with it. My answer to this is that despite the fact that Strange New Worlds had more footage of the BLM riots than the actual January 6th stuff, the issue I have with Strange New Worlds and modern day Star Trek in general is they reference as a member berry, hey, is it racism's bad? Hey, pollution's bad. You know, climate change is a thing. They don't actually give you anything other than the reference to it.
Racism is bad. Climate change is bad. Inequality is bad. Police violence is bad. What do we do about it?
Complain.
Damn the fine, no. It's bad and you should feel bad about it. Aren't you glad we're complaining?
No. And modern day Star Trek has this really horrible tendency to pat itself on the back for overcoming the trauma of being an adult and doing your goddamn job. Okay? I mean, you have the Kayla Detmer character who practically has panic attacks because she's a pilot. And, but they're showing the trauma from the PTSD of what pilots and military and people go through. No, they're not. They're doing it because she can't accept the fact that she's an adult who has responsibilities, for crying out loud. And that's everybody on this. They cry. They talk about their feelings. You're crying wokeness. Woke is just a modern day buzzword that separates people by categories. If you say something is woke, then automatically you're considered right-wing, politicized, radicalized, whatever. And there's a lot of people who are. Don't get me wrong, that's a whole other tangent for another day. This is trying to be painting anybody who calls that this as a political affiliation, whether they might be or not. What do you think? That's part of this. There's a lot more to unpack there, though.
I see. Whoa.
But I mean, they're making the same arguments, and they're saying they're setting up Lord of the Rings, and they're setting up Star Wars.
One needs to only look towards Moses Ingram's Star Wars Backlash that was there before anybody had seen the show, according to the press. So how could we have any backlash to it if we haven't even seen it? They didn't. They told her to make an accent that was, oh, now we're gonna have a visit.
Did someone say my name?
No, because I don't know where you are. Oh, there you are.
There I am. My blood's rushing to my head.
Good. You deserve it. You deserve it. You coming upside down then.
That's right. I'm coming upside down. Make a man. I'm like Batman.
Just go away. Go away. The whole thing was they said, oh, you're going to get attacked because of the color of your skin. When nobody had anything to say with Obi-Wan because...
That was all...
Publicity. It was a marketing stunt.
It's marketing, PR, pre-disastering themselves.
And I think Reva was the best character on the show because it was so out of place.
That's right, I was the best character.
No motivation. Like, why would killing Luke actually hurt? And Anakin wants him dead, or Vader wants him dead by then, or should want him dead. It's only gonna be his demise. So this is another problem with prequels. They do these prequels so they could reboot the series. We're going off on 5 different tangents here. Sorry. Diversity, representation, vocal minority, wokeness, blah, blah, blah. Seriously, though, when you drop pronouns in the middle of an episode like Star Trek Discovery does,
I would prefer they or them from now on.
That does nothing but say my pronouns are they, them, and you say it 9 crapping times in a row.
9 times.
In a day and age where nobody in their right mind would be oppressed or want to be oppressed, because you don't get rewarded for being oppressed like people do now. Why? They get so much more rewards for being oppressed. They have to assign an imaginary oppression to every little aspect of their life just to proof themselves from any backlash, from any criticism. And they do it with these shows. They tout out the diversity stuff.
They're incredibly diverse. Diversity.
Guys, look at the moon.
Diversity.
It's also true that social media amplified toxicity with fandoms across the board. Okay, they make the case that people have access to social media, so they're more vocal. People wouldn't upload on a message board if you had to go and wait for your mom to stop being on the internet, so you could go in your 56K modem to go and type out on a message board. Beep, doop, doop. Really, that's where we're going. The biggest problem I see, and if we really want to boil down to, so they pull out all the tricks, they pull out all the stops, they have every excuse under the sun that, the Star Trek has always been this, and see, we're just trying something different. Oh, they even admit that the Klingon stuff does nothing, because now they gotta explain why Worf looks normal and these Klingons didn't. These Klingons look like just a lump of modeling clay, and they can't even talk through the damn masks. They can't even see through the damn masks on some of them, and so they're trying to excuse. Oh yes, it's always been retconned. It's always been different. The problem with that part of this argument is that they can't use the retcon as an excuse because nobody will let them call it a reboot. Right? Am I making sense? I don't even know if I'm making sense.
Yeah, I mean, they're not calling it a reboot.
But it is. But they are literally not allowed to. Didn't one of these article sites had that? It's a reboot, and then they pulled it really immediately.
No, the reboot we need. Star Trek Strange New World is a reboot we need. No, it's not a reboot. Change it. But it is a reboot. I mean, we can clearly see it was a reboot. We can see it with our own eyes. It's clearly a reboot. The problem is they want their cake and eat it too, because if they just admitted it to the old fans, then people like me could say, oh, it's just a reboot, we can ignore it, and we don't give them the hate clicks. They need the hate clicks. I've literally been told they need us. They need the hate clicks or else Star Trek isn't going to exist, right? And I'm like, you know what? I like kicking stupid sometimes. They want the old fans to show up, but if they admit it's a reboot, they know they won't. Yeah, we could just ignore it now.
But so many of them have already left at this point that it's like almost too little too late. They promise up and down they're going to fix Picard. They promise all this stuff. The issue with Picard is people were out after that Icheb scene where they pull out his eyeball in full gruesome gore, yucky, and full on, and then the sheer effing hubris and shut the F up Picard. All of these things. That's what a lot of people left on Picard was in season crapping 1 on episode 5, and they never came back for 2. So they missed the stupid of season 2, and I'm out of focus again.
Oh my god, the stupid of season 2.
With the musical, she says, I know what boys like, for no reason, out of the blue, she just drops into a musical, and what the hell is she saying? Oh, we're running with the shadows of the night. what?
Yeah, that the band,
That's what she was saying.
That the band somehow knew to play.
They knew because they know an Ancient Earth Pat Benatar song. It was a
Yeah.
Pat Benatar.
Well,
That
it
was a good
was
Was it
even
Pat?
yeah, Pat Benatar. Even for 2024, it's a song that's still 40 years old. Which is like me at when I first learned guitar sitting in on a Glenn Miller song.
So they even like debunk their own thing and say, but they've always changed it and they've always changed it. So they're trying to convince themselves in this article. Is it really worse? Is the backlash just louder? I think
it's worse.
I think that the Star Trek is worse and that the media's reaction has never been this way. The media has never been so quick to say, oh, well, if the Klingons are allegories for Trump supporters, poo, and to spit on them, and like literal physical, like current day political, people. It's not like, oh yeah, they're World War II bad guys, which everybody can agree are bad. I thought, at least at one point. I don't know. Who knows what the hell people are on about anymore. You tell people that's bad, and then they'll start supporting it just because the other tribe says it's bad, right? That's how we are now. This is the problem with a lot of this, is that they try and push and shove and side and tribe all these things. And then what does the media do? The media says, hey, you're an istophobe if you don't like Discovery because it's got a whammon of color. It's got a POC on there, which actually doesn't stand for piece of crap, I learned recently.
Yes.
And, can you imagine if somebody who, like, I can admit that there was a lot of people, I didn't connect with DS9 right away. I didn't watch it because I didn't know you had to watch it in order. And I was watching kind of reruns here and there, and I didn't really care that much for it. And Kira was Major Kira was a little bit of a, I don't know, what do you want to call her? The B in the alphabet sometimes. Not that B, the other one. So she was not the nicest woman, but not a single person ever called anybody an istophobe for not liking DS9. Can you imagine if DS9 came out today? They'd be like, you're a racist because you don't like Cisco. You're a misogynist because you don't like Janeway. Any excuse. Like if I said, hey, I couldn't stand the Kazon, they would just call me, oh, you have internalized misogyny because you don't like a woman captain. And the fact with all of this is these shows did improve though, and these shows started off pretty darn good. TNG started off pretty darn good for a show they keep trashing the first season of. They keep going back to Measure of a Man. They keep going back to Q. They keep going back to all these things.
It wasn't horrible.
It was never as bad as Discovery.
Unwatchable.
It was never as bad as Discovery. We never had to stop and drop pronouns to make a point that people of other genders existed. All right? We did it with allegory and interesting storytelling that led you to believe a conclusion, and if you didn't agree with that political ideology, you could see it as another society, and you could move on and be entertained, and then maybe in your subconscious you might resonate with you later on, and it might change your mind, or it might double down your emotion later on, but you're not stopped having a modern day current political debate because of a TV show. The article writing, the attacks on the fans, the media, the marketing, every little thing with this show has been, you're a racist, you're a Trump supporter, if you're a conservative, don't watch it, all these things. And by no means do I consider myself a conservative, especially not Rob here. I just have to say, as a normal, regular old Star Trek fan who could watch it for those sort of allegories to kind of awaken that if I wanted to, and I could turn it off if I didn't. We never got attacked like this. Even in the days when people were saying, hey, maybe TNG isn't going to be that good because they're changing things.
Well,
to keep up that article they keep gaslighting people with, where they're like, they were complaining about TNG, so they always complained. Yes, but they never attacked the fans in this way in response. They always started from something a little bit better than Discovery has. Mm-hmm. And they never had to go and pirate, like, what am I saying? Rip off, not pirate. They never had to go and plagiarize, is the word I'm looking for, Star Trek novels to get their stories across, the halfway decent ones anyway.
See, when fans want to have a backlash or pushback, they used to have to sit down and write things called letters to the network or to the producers, and They would get passed along. Oh my God, look at all these letters.
So if it is something where we can just instantaneously complain, then they can instantaneously see it and attack because we hurt their little feelings because they make garbage Star Trek. And that is not something that they did even back then. They never said and read their fan mail, oh, they hate it, so they're gonna go. Do you remember ever having any of those attacks against fans? Ever, like, oh, a racist said something about Star Trek?
No,
except maybe in TOS when they wouldn't air the kiss in the Bible Belt.
Mm-hmm.
In the like, that was the only time they wouldn't accept programming back in the 1960s.
The only thing I remember about the fans attacking was the sitcom Soap back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of affiliates refused to run it
because it had a gay.
Because it had a gay.
It had a gay.
Actually, it had two gays.
Oh, it had two gays.
Two gays, a guy gay and a girl gay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and there were a lot of really controversial topics they used to touch on, and a lot of affiliates refused to air it. And finally, by the 4th season, ABC said, "That's it, had enough. We're pulling the plug on the show." So that was the only thing I remember up until now. And they used to air it at 10 o'clock or 10:30 at night, or whatever it was.
But no, I don't think the Backlash is worse. I don't even think it's louder. I think it's more instantaneous. And the gaslighting that they use to try and convince people that, oh, well, you always complained before. And that is literally everything this article is. It is, well, they always complained before, and then the shows always got better. And see, now they don't complain so much about Strange New Worlds because Ree and blah. It's like, okay, yes, but we still say it's off and it still should be. Like, for the enjoyment I get out of it, they take it away immediately by referencing Star Trek, changing something about Star Trek, bringing in those damn time crystals from Discovery like they did in the tail end episode there. And do you have anything else to add on this one?
Listen, we're having the same discussion after 5 years.
After 5 years.
5 years.
They can admit it's bad. They can go ahead and admit it's bad. You
can't admit it. Yeah, and just admit it. It's bad. The show's bad. Everything. Strange New Worlds is the least bad of all of it. In
my opinion. A lot of people like Lower Decks, but I guess that's subjective. A lot of people are liking Prodigy.
STD, Prodigy. I mean, just admit it's bad.
And they even go into talking about how, oh yeah, but the new fans who have never heard of Star Trek like it.
I don't like Star Trek, but, well, how would you know? I don't like Star Trek, but this is the best Star Trek series I've ever seen. Well, you don't like Star Trek. How do you know? How do you know?
That's like me. That's like when they make Lord of the Rings and they're gonna destroy it for everybody. And I'm sorry, but I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan. But if they put them all on a militarized starship somewhere and had them explore space and stuff, I would love it. I mean, and then it would be for me and not the actual Lord of the Rings fans. So you see why that's a dumb idea.
Which there were a lot of.
That's a dumb idea, and that's what they're doing with this. They're like, well, we're not Star Trek fans, but we really like this stupid. Yeah, modern Star Trek is broken canon. It does. They don't want to. They can't admit to. They can't adhere to it anyway. This is a deal with it. We're not gonna fix it, sort of thing.
And this after that whole canon camp thing. Remember that?
Yeah, they went to canon camp and they didn't learn any. They learned that watching Star Trek is hard.
They watched one episode, The Cage.
Oh my God, watching Star Trek is so hard.
Which is mistakenly listed as the pilot on Netflix.
But it's the first episode, so why does he smile there? See, because now we can do whatever we want because he smiled. I'm tired of the articles. I'm tired of them arguing.
Like I said, after 5 years, we're still having the same debates.
It's like, please, we beg you to watch them. We beg you. Is it really divisive? This is just a puff piece by Craig Elvey.
Whomever Craig Elvey is.
Craig Elvey. He's a little sunglasses looking twerp. Yeah, this article really needs to go.
Maybe he's a oh look, Twitter. Share the article on Twitter.
I don't want to share the article.
Maybe he's a fiction. Maybe he's a fictional
character. We need to race swap him and make him a woman. So he needs to be a black woman. We'll just recast him with Scary Spice and be done with it. She's the first woman I could think of.
Okay.
I am Mecca.
I don't care anymore.
See you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye.
Number one, I order you to go take a number two.